Hello, hi, it's Jack. Just letting you know before you start listening to this podcast that it was recorded about 6 weeks before it was released, so contemporary jokes don't make much sense. So just have that in mind, and this sounds weird because I'm not recording it with a mic, because the mic is in a different place to where I am right now. And also I have a sore throat, but that's beside the point. Enjoy the podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Right. This is a sad time.
It's a sad day. For the 4 or so people that follow us on Twitter, you already know about this.
Yeah, well, so circumstances are changing for us.
Yes. I mean, not that there has been an episode of the Misled Youth podcast since,
Was it June?
June?
Maybe May.
Possibly.
Anyway, so second year of university for us has come to an end.
It has.
So at this point, it is time for Jack to move back to his job in Blackpool.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to start preparing to go on my year abroad, which I will be doing next year, starting in actually 6 weeks' time, which is not next year at all.
No.
And now
Next
I'm having a panic attack. Excellent.
So next academic year, Alex is going to be studying in Spain, which means that we're not going to be in the same country for a year.
Yeah. And after that, Jack's degree will have ended.
Yeah.
And I'll still have another year at Lancaster.
Yes. I mean, we'll be in the same country, so we'll see each other over the course of that year.
At which point we may be able to squeeze what drops of current affairs we can into another podcast. But for now, this is probably going to be the last episode for the foreseeable future, at least.
Yeah. So, welcome to the last episode of the Misled Youth podcast. I'm Jack, this is Alex, and we have a doozy of a last episode for you today, ladies and gents. We are not leaving you on a sour note.
Okay, so what we're going to start with is something that happened in first year, at the end of first year,
Yes.
Which for some reason we just never actually told you about.
No.
I think we recorded an episode on it and then didn't release it because we couldn't get it out in time for the schedule that we actually managed to keep to sometimes.
I know.
Then.
Remember when we
Wow.
had a schedule, guys? That was fun.
I don't. Wow.
No. Well.
So, yeah, this is a long story with some very strange motivations. Central characters are us two.
Yes.
Because of course they are.
Yes. In further proof that we are essentially, our entire personalities is ripping off the technical difficulties.
Yeah. We decided to rip off the technical difficulties once more. In that I ran for an elected position in our university.
Yes.
It wasn't Students' Union president, like Tom Scott did. It was the president of my college.
Yes. Lancaster, if you listening to this and don't know, it's a collegiate system, 9 colleges, every college has a president and various
I'm
other...
not sure if Grad does have a president.
I have no idea, actually, never
Grad
mind.
is famous for not caring about university politics at all.
This is true. Anyway, the colleges have presidents and secretaries of socials and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they have an executive junior committee of students
Yes.
in the college at the current time who are elected, usually uncontested, usually in ridiculously low turnout.
It tends to be
elections,
like the president is contested,
and everybody else is just sort of
and then usually
also rans that
Yeah.
just sort of get co-opted into it.
yeah,
So at the end of first year, there were some by-elections for our executive committee in our
Yes.
college. Executive committee.
'Cause I think
for
they
those
were
of you
like-
who speak English.
yes. I think there were was it 5 positions or something?
Yeah, there were a few positions open.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many exactly, but some of the people who filled those positions at the moment were graduating and couldn't carry on until the next elections, which would be
The first term
the
of-
autumn of second year. So one of those positions was the president, and I decided it would be a great idea to run as a joke
Well,
candidate.
we decided it would
Well,
be a
we
good
decided
idea
it
for
was a
you
great
to
idea.
run as a joke candidate.
Now, it wasn't entirely a political decision.
I don't think it was at all a political decision. I don't think I'd never really been bothered about the collegiate system. My college didn't have a massive impact on my university experience, so it never really...
I mean, for me it did, because I was part of the bar sports teams pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
So I was always involved in the college itself. But I'd never really thought about taking a serious interest in college affairs, because it's really boring, frankly. That's the reason. It's just dull. So a slightly more personal backstory to that is that I had just come out of a relationship and wanted to set up a Tinder account, and
I forgot about this.
I realised that I didn't actually have any pictures of myself that didn't have my ex in them. So
I'd completely forgotten this was like the whole other reason why we did this.
This was the ulterior motive for running in this election, was to make promotional things for the campaign,
But
which would
also
involve
for you.
pictures of me that did not include my ex in them, so that I could put them on my new Tinder account. So we do this election campaign. Jack decides that he's going to be my campaign manager.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
What do we need to do?
What are we going to do? So we immediately go out and decide we don't want to do this properly.
No.
Because that might entail winning.
Yes.
And winning was not part of the agenda.
As with Tom Scott's campaign, we wanted to be funny. We wanted people to know it was happening. The plan wasn't to win. The plan, as with Tom Scott, was to come second by one vote and really annoy everyone.
Yeah. Annoy the people who are interested in this sort of stuff, and get more people involved who aren't normally interested, because it's interesting, it's funny, it's something to talk about, and it makes you think about the college elections and what's happening. If you can get a good campaign going.
Yeah, and also, why not have a laugh? It's the end of the year.
Why not have a laugh?
We've all done/do finishing off our exams, like...
Ours was just before our exams, actually.
Yeah.
So we were taking time out of our revision to do that. Which,
it was like a week.
Yeah, it was a very short campaign.
Yeah.
So we decided, because it's a running joke within Bowland bar sports and our college bar sports, and also university bar sports in general, that I'm quite involved in, that I look a bit like Jon Snow. We've talked about this on the show before. It is less and less true the longer I go without a shave or a haircut. I have recently been compared to Hagrid, which is less flattering, but I'll still take it, because Robbie Coltrane is a very nice man as far as I know.
Never met him, couldn't tell you.
So we start this campaign, we decide that I'm going to run as Jon Snow.
Yeah.
We take the recent promotional video that the college has made.
I was going to say we probably need to explain Extrav
Yeah,
now, don't
we need to explain Extrav. At the end of the year, most of the colleges put on an extravaganza or an extrav, which is just a themed party. It's just they take a bunch of money that they've pooled up over the course of the year from student contributions, and they splash it. They splash it on basically getting absolutely wasted.
Yeah. It's peak university, really. I don't know if they're any good. I've never been to one of them.
I haven't either. But our college theme for that particular extrav, as it's called, was Game of Thrones themed.
So they released the promotional video where they revealed
where they'd done
theme.
like actual work to try and make it look good.
Yes.
And we decided when we saw that actually trying in your efforts at university is not acceptable. If you make some sort of promotional material at university, there is an unwritten rule that I've just made up that it has to be terrible, deliberately so.
Yes.
Like, if we wanted to make the promotional video for my campaign that we eventually made, if we wanted to make that professionally done and like well made, well scripted, well animated, we could have. It would have taken a while.
Yeah.
In the end, it took us about a day.
Yeah, I think we did...
we did all the filming in one day, edited it in the night, then realised that a few things weren't quite right about it, so we had to
I think we
fix
just had to
them.
re-record some lines, really.
Yeah, we had to re-record some lines, get a bit of extra B-roll.
Yeah.
which is
Well, fancy terms
I know.
from Alex Marsh.
Incredible, which is already breaking my rule that you have to be deliberately unprofessional. But that's what it's called. There's not really anything else that you can call it. Background footage, I suppose.
By this point, there'll have been an information card with the video.
Oh yeah, we'll link the video to you that we eventually made, because we decided that even though Jack's never seen Game of Thrones, it was a good idea for me to just really go all in on the Game of Thrones theme.
So in this extra release video, they'd CGI'd a dragon coming and burning down a part of the college. So we kind of played off that, and you were inspired to start this campaign when you saw the devastation caused by a dragon attack.
Yeah, it was a fake populist sort of campaign. It was
build a wall around one of the colleges.
Yeah, build a wall around County, I think it was, and make them.
I can't remember now.
Some other college and make them pay for it. It was deliberately silly.
Yeah,
and it was in the end quite funny.
Yeah.
Now I don't say this to toot my own horn, because I'd really rather it hadn't gone down quite as well as it did.
Because again, if people are enjoying it, that might involve winning. And we don't want to win.
So, at the hustings, because we have hustings of these things...
Yes. Because officially... because we messed up. I think statute of limitations is probably okay on a small JCR election, that we made the page early, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we made a Facebook campaign page and published it, and put it around in a couple of group chats that we were in, that I was doing this campaign, and then we were immediately told, "Wait, no, you can't do that yet. You're not allowed to start campaigning yet." And we both reacted to this in pretty much the same way, which is to say that, "Are you joking me? It's a JCR election.
Yeah.
This is an election where the turnout will be less than 5%.
Yeah. And also, if you needed any clarification on how seriously we were taking this campaign, we didn't even bother to read the rules on when we could start campaigning. So,
yeah, we literally put as little effort into this as we could. Like, my Jon Snow costume was literally my house coat.
Yeah, I'll assume the viewer has by now seen the video and returned.
Yeah, this isn't a proper cloak. It's not a robe. It's a house coat.
I think did we turn it inside out, or?
Yeah, because there was a rugby league badge on it.
You said Helen's
because
logo on it, yes.
it was a Christmas present. And so it was the black long coat thing that I happened to own that I could make sort of look like a cape.
Yes.
So we did this.
So we premiered this video at Hustings.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, hopefully
we might
everyone
get a few
hates
titters.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone else hates this.
Yeah, everybody rolls their eyes and everybody thinks that it's just a bit silly. They laugh and they move on. It went down a bit too well.
Yeah, we
in
got
the end.
applause.
Yeah, we got a round of applause. It got quite a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
And like this sounds like we're gloating, but we're really not.
No.
We really wish this hadn't happened.
We didn't want to win.
The point was not to win.
No. So, we accidentally win Hustings.
Right, yeah. There is another part to hustings, so there are 3 other candidates for president.
Yes.
This isn't, like... How do I put this nicely?
I'm glad this is the last episode. Because I have no idea what he's about to say.
This was an election to see who could polish themselves up the nicest.
Okay. With a joke candidate involved.
Yes. It's
Three
like
people
a
who
parliamentary election, but without any of the major candidates running, just the joke candidates and the independents.
Okay.
So, like, there are no serious people. Well, some of them were serious.
Yes.
They wanted the job.
Yeah.
Serious. That sort of serious. But, like, the way they came across wasn't particularly professional.
No. I think a lot of the things with these elections and a lot of the things with SU elections more widely is it's essentially a popularity contest.
Yeah. If you can get as many of your friends as possible to vote for you, you probably win, despite the fact that none of them actually care what you want to do if and when you're elected.
No.
So my promises that you've seen in the video by now about arming the porters
And-
with swords and calling them the Night's Watch.
And I think we said we'd like make the vending machines accept the iron price as legal tender.
make it possible for you to literally just beat the ever-living daylights out of these vending
Nice
machines.
self-censoring, thank you. The note in that video is 100% true.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. That annoyed me more than just about anything else in that campaign.
We lost £2.
That vending machine ate 2 of my pounds, and I really want them back still. It really annoys me.
So if anyone who has any connections with the vending machine in the Learning Zone at Lancaster University is listening, can we have our £2 back, please?
Mine. It's my £2.
Yeah.
And I'm very annoyed. I'm very annoyed about it. Still.
Anyway,
so
hustings.
yeah,
there were
so
questions.
there were questions after the campaign speeches and videos
all
that
that.
happened. So the people in the audience, which is literally just the friends of the people who are already on the executive committee,
And I was there.
and a few people that we vaguely knew. A couple of my darts teammates turned up
Because why not?
because it was funny to them. Because it was funny.
It was hilarious.
They started asking us questions, and like, the poor girl beside me in these questions didn't really know what I was doing, and hadn't, I don't think, watched Game of Thrones. So when my captain of the darts team
Oh
Yelled
no, I
out.
forgot this. I've forgotten this.
yelled out his first question, which was, "Do you really shag your aunt?" I laughed.
I laughed, despite
Jack
having not
laughed.
seen it, but I was aware of like the.
Everyone in the audience laughed.
She did not laugh.
She turned to me, shocked, and she was asking me like, "Oh my god, really?" And I just have to turn to her and quietly say, "It's a joke. He's kidding. It's a reference to the TV show.
That I'm
He
basing my
doesn't
campaign.
actually think I'm incestuous." And that I think that just put her at ease a little bit. But
One thing we should probably mention is, for reasons that aren't particularly relevant to the podcast, being president of Bowling College at that time was going to involve a lot of hard work with
Yeah.
other colleges. There was some pretty serious
yeah,
stuff
because
going down at that
I
point.
think it's probably just about decent that we should tell
Sure,
our
why not?
listeners why it was important. It was particularly important that year because every year our college and the other founding college of our university they put on a sports weekend sort of thing where all of the
it's
sports
like Roses,
teams.
but less.
Yeah, it's like an inter-varsity competition,
Yeah.
but just between our colleges. So we have like 30 or 40 different sports that we compete in. You sign up to be a part of it. Sometimes like the actual proper teams of your colleges will get involved.
For example, like the darts
our
team
darts
do,
team do, the pool
football teams and stuff.
yeah, the football teams, the netball teams, that sort of thing.
And you also have your like fun things like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and quick cricket, and I was part of the quiz team, which won quite handily, actually. Thank you very much. I played for the Dominoes team as well. That was fun. But the problem is that the year that we got here, so our first year, there were problems in organising the event for reasons that are very complicated and very dull, and still would
that's
probably
kind of
cause
yeah.
a lot of anger if I explained them in full.
Well, also they don't need explaining in full. Like,
Yeah, no, but it's really pointless to explain them in full, so I'm not going to. Needless to say, it was quite important that we had the right person in the role to sort
make
it
sure
out.
that it happened the year after.
Yeah, because it couldn't be sorted out properly in time, so it had to go underground
Yeah.
for a year, which was a little bit difficult to deal with, but
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't involved in it, so.
we made it work.
But yeah, so long story short, it was very important that we got the right person in
do the job.
to make sure that happened.
We realise after this hustings is finished that I am now quite clearly in the lead.
It felt like that from hustings.
It felt like we won hustings, which is
Because the thing is, like, you you weren't giving joke answers to the questions.
No, to the
because
questions...
you quickly realised, I'm like...
It's important.
Yeah.
I can't just take the mick out of everything. I can't take the piss out of everything, really, can I?
Yeah.
So I had to try and give serious answers. And I ended up kind of giving answers that were a bit too competent.
Yeah.
They ended up just sort of actually being good answers.
Good answers, yeah.
And again, I'm not gloating.
No.
I wish I hadn't. I really wish now that I'd just made the whole thing into a massive joke.
Yeah. In hindsight, that's probably
what
what
I
we should have done. That's probably what we should have done.
But I took it seriously, which was a massive mistake. So I ended up looking actually decent as a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of people after the hustings told me that I had their votes. And that scared the shit out of me.
And we'd got... I can't remember how many views we ended up getting on the Facebook Facebook group. It was in the thousands.
Like 1,000 people viewed the post that Jack put on of me in a rather large Facebook group.
I don't know how many people actually then clicked onto the video.
No, the video itself got around about 200 views, I think.
Yeah.
In the end, which is a lot more than the amount of people that voted.
Spoilers.
Because, well, it's not really a spoiler because we knew that it was going to be a very low turnout election before we even thought about running for it.
Yeah.
So, after the hustings, there were 3 days of voting.
Yeah. At which point
the candidates are allowed to campaign now.
But you'd quickly realised, oh no, I might win.
Yeah, after the hustings, I couldn't sleep that night because I was lying there in my single bed, staring up at the ceiling, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to organise this whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to organise a massive sporting competition, and it's going to be."
And like the thing is, like the thing was at this point as well is like he's going to be on an executive committee where everyone else on that executive committee assumed they were going to have one of the other three presidents.
Yeah, they assumed probably one of two, really, because one of the other candidates wasn't really an insider either.
No.
Like, it's a very cliquey organisation.
Yeah.
The executive committee. It's like that with every college, as far as I can tell. It's pretty difficult to break into because most people just don't want to.
Yeah.
So they don't try.
Yeah.
And so the clique grows ever stronger.
It was essentially going to be one of two people. And then it looked like Alex was possibly going to actually do something here. So he didn't want to campaign.
So for the last 3 days of the campaign, I shut myself in. I did not go out.
No.
I did not go and do anything.
No. I think
that
we
could
did
even be remotely considered campaigning.
I think we did a couple of posters somewhere.
We put posters up just after hustings,
Yes.
but as it dawned on me that oh no, I might win.
Yeah.
I just
No.
they
notes.
started getting torn down, and I was like, I'm not replacing them.
Yeah.
Because I could, but I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want any more people to see my face and think,
Yeah,
I might do that. Because it's frightening thinking about. Like, maybe if it was a different college, I might have been okay with it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you don't have to have the pressure of organising a massive sporting competition and being in meetings every single day that actually matter and mean something.
Yeah.
Maybe I could deal with that if it was a different college and I didn't have to go to all those meetings and organise massive.
But like
competitions
you were genuinely kind of thinking, okay, if this does happen, do I just resign on my first day and
do I go to these election results and literally just stand there and say, what is wrong with you all?
No.
I cannot do this. Why have you done this to me? I'm not doing this. Give it to that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have happened if that had come to pass.
I have no idea.
Thankfully,
yeah, we can get to the results now. I think.
Thankfully, I didn't win.
My
lack of a campaign,
yeah,
had paid off, and I was comfortably joint third.
Yes,
which means that another serious candidate actually got the same amount of votes as me.
However, this is where.
Now, this is where we have to backtrack a bit.
Yes.
Because When I decided that yes, I was going to run,
we quickly realised that okay,
I would be, if I actually fluked it and won, I would be on my own.
Yeah,
In a room
we
full
were
of
saying.
people that didn't know me and didn't want me there.
Like I was saying before, you would, like, everyone would have been expecting somebody else.
And they probably would have resented me
Yeah.
for actually having taken it away from one of their friends.
Yeah.
And so I thought, right, I'm not doing this alone. So Jack went for vice president.
Yeah, thinking, okay, that's fine then, because if Alex wins, everyone knows I'm with Alex. If people are voting for Alex, they'll vote for me.
Yeah, it was basically a ticket.
Yeah.
It was like a US presidential ticket.
Yeah, in as much as you can get there. Because everyone knew I was helping on Alex's campaign. I'm the voice singing the Game of Thrones theme at the start of it with him.
Yeah,
I filmed it all and all that kind of stuff. And everyone knows we're friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if people were voting for Alex, they're probably voting for me as well. So if he gets in by whatever kind of voodoo magic, I'll probably get in too, and then it'll be fine, and we can kind of manage it together as best we can. This plan backfired horribly.
This plan didn't really take into... Yeah, it backfired. It didn't really take into account the way that these elections work, in that president is the top job, and so lots of people will go for it, in my case.
Mm-hmm.
Every other job is very insignificant.
Including vice president.
Yeah, because we looked at what the vice president does.
Not much.
And it's not a lot.
No, they actually planned the extras.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Jack was unopposed.
Yeah, I won.
He won without having to lift a finger.
No.
Because nobody ran against him. Because nobody wanted to run against him. Because nobody wanted to be vice president.
No. So I then had to, after running a joke campaign for president, have to actually be on the thing that I was mocking.
Yeah. Actually do a serious job. Which, to be fair, you handled it pretty well.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not incompetent, and I can do things. A lot of the jobs...
That's a Tinder bio right there. I'm not incompetent, I can do things.
Yes, well, we'll see.
Which things? We don't know.
Who
We've
knows?
not got there
But
yet.
the thing is, a lot of the job was just sitting in meetings, taking notes on the meetings, and filling in for the president, the guy who won the election in the end, who was fine.
The guy I voted for.
Yeah.
Because you're damn sure I didn't vote for myself.
I did vote for you, I'll be
Oh
honest.
God, of course you did. I got, what was it, 11,
I think
13
it was
votes? Something like that.
yeah.
11 votes, which means that the darts team actually did vote for me.
Yeah, they did. But not
I
many.
will never forgive them.
But yeah, so I then had to be on this thing that I was completely mocking. And you know what? It was fine, because as we were saying earlier, these were by-elections, and the full executive committee was up at the end of first term. So I thought, you know what? For a term, I can do this. It's fine. A lot of the job was Freshers Week, which I actually really enjoyed, because I got to do Freshers Week.
Again.
Yeah, but
Despite
obviously
not being a fresher.
Yeah.
This time you just had responsibilities.
This time I was kind of responsible for it, and you know what? That was fine. I quite enjoyed it. It was nice having that kind of perspective on Freshers Week for a change, and then most of the rest of the job was just taking notes in meetings that the president couldn't get to, and meeting him in a bar afterwards to tell him what had happened. And that was as we were saying, the vice president plans the extrav, but the vice president doesn't start planning the extrav until after the elections are over. And I knew full well that I wasn't going to stand again, because I never really wanted the job to begin with. I ran to make sure Alex wouldn't be alone.
Yeah, that backfired pretty badly. But in the end, it wasn't. In
the end, it was
the
fine.
worst thing in the world.
As
it turns out, organising things isn't actually that bad.
No. They say.
Well,
despite not being able to organise a podcast.
Well, no, that's a different thing. But when this competition came around this year, I actually got involved pretty heavily in it.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that some sports could go ahead, and trying to make sure that some sports were a little bit grander than perhaps they would be if we were just doing it like weekly college league.
Yeah.
And it didn't go perfectly, but it did go pretty well. And in the end, we won, which was pretty big.
Yeah, we don't win. We don't win that much.
No, our college has lost.
I think, was it 5 times in a row?
Oh, I think it was something more than that.
Really?
I think it was 6 or 7.
Oh,
But
crikey.
but we won, and it was a pretty tight thing.
Yeah.
Like, we were dominating for most of the first few days, and then like the last day was just a bunch of events that we couldn't win,
Yeah.
and a couple that we could, and we won the ones that we could, we lost the ones that we couldn't, and we won.
Yeah. But so in summary, that was the story of when we tried to run a joke campaign for Alex to become president of a college, and then I accidentally became vice president of a college for a term. But it wasn't too bad because I'm not incompetent and I can do things, which I am going to have to re-download Tinder and make that my Tinder bio now.
Yeah, so as it turns out, my campaign was actually pretty brilliant.
Yeah. You
Because
didn't win.
it did exactly what I wanted it to.
It cheered a few
It made
people up.
people laugh, it got people involved, and it made sure that I did not have any responsibilities at the end of it.
But I did.
Again, I'm very sorry. So, that concludes that particular story.
And also the last ever episode of the Misled Youth podcast.
Well, I don't want to say ever. That's very final.
That is very final.
That is very final.
Oh, the bin of shame. The bin of shame.
Yeah, we do need to do the bit of shame.
I'm going to nominate you for making me be on the executive of a college.
Okay. Cruel, but fair. I'm going to nominate Boris Johnson for just being
Oh,
elected
yeah, no,
Prime Minister.
Okay. Can
That-
you both go in?
I don't really want to be with him. Can we have different compartments in the bit of shame?
Okay, sure.
I'll go in the recycling, he can go in the general waste.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he is absolute general waste.
Okay, bye.